Hello, everybody. Hi, Laura. Hi, Marie. I'm just blowing on my hands and trying to keep warm in my studio. Got to get my hands warm for doing things. How's everybody doing? Staying warm? I have my coffee. I hope you have your cocoa or coffee or tea. It feels really good, nice and warm. Let's turn this light down just a little bit while we're waiting. Go. That's a little bit better. There we go. Hey, Marie. Hey, Jamie. Oh my goodness. It is a chilly day, which is perfect for reflecting and getting in the studio and working on things. So it's kind of fun to look for items around the house, things that bring you good memories, things that just kind of take your mind off of the way things are right now. And so today we're going to be working with sketchbooks. And you don't need to be artistic at all, and that's the nice thing. Hi, Lisa. You don't have to feel like you have to draw. You can use images from your phone. You can do all kinds of things. So I'm just gonna sit here. Crappy day for flying. Yeah, it's kind of a crappy day for all kinds of critters out here. Very chilly. I went out and checked the game camera and did not see a single thing on there. So we're gonna have to check that camera and see. My hair's doing its fun thing again. See what's going on with that. Well, maybe just nothing's moving through the woods. I find that hard to believe, but we've been having a lot of coyote music out there, and with the full moon, it's bringing about a lot of coyote song. So that's really cool. And I do love to hear the coyote music, but it's keeping me awake at night because I want to record the song. And by the time I jump up and run to the window and have my Tascam recorder and get it over to the window and open the window a little bit more, the coyote's usually done singing her song. Except for the first night where she sang for hours, 1.5 hours, just kind of nonstop. And that's the night I should have recorded her. But anyway, there's been a lot of coyote activity and a lot of the barred owl hooting and observing all of that. Just being mindful to what's happening outside, and usually it's the sound that catches my attention. Oh my goodness. So, anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about sketchbooks. And I don't know how many sketchbooks I have. Probably 30, maybe, running here and there, every size imaginable. Little tiny sketchbooks about the size of this little pad of paper to larger sketchbooks. One that I took to Yellowstone years ago, and an even bigger one that I took to the Porcupine Mountains that I carried down the trail with me. And so I love sketchbooks, an empty sketchbook, but they can be very daunting to people. And I understand, because when you get a sketchbook, and I'm just going to use the one that I have here, and this is, Cachet. I love the Cachet landscape books. And when I go for a sketchbook, and I have probably 10 of these, and they come in different colors, and I usually write the year on them, so I can kind of tell what's inside. Sometimes I put a little bit of dialogue on the front and draw on the front, and it lets me, cues me into what is inside that sketchbook. So if I need it for another book, I can kind of tell. Sometimes it's just fun to pull all the sketchbooks down and go through them and think, I forgot I had that piece, or I forgot that I studied this thing. And so it's kind of a neat discovery that way too. But yeah, I love the cachet. It comes in a bunch of colors, and I get them from Dick Blick. And I like this landscape as opposed to the portrait styled sketchbooks. I just like the way that it opens and lays flat. When you have it spiral, it lays flat. And there you have the surface ready and waiting for your pen or your pencil. And people that, want to do nature journaling, they're so excited. They get the pencils, they get the pens, they have maybe some drawing pencils and some color. And I really like these really cool multicolored pencils, because the color comes out in a real fun way for backgrounds. They might have all kinds of watercolor pencils, everything else, and they get to this point and they just kind of stop. Oh, hi May, you're at Laura's. That's okay. Hello to everybody at the daycare. I'm glad you're there and watching today. So yeah, a lot of people look at that blank page and they kind of freeze, and they think, gosh, I need to be journaling, so what am I going to do? And so they wait and they wait, and eventually they just kind of close it up, put it aside, and don't look at it. And maybe every so often they'll take it out. You can see here that this is when I was drawing the baby possums that I found. They might write some notes, like this is what I do, just some notes and thoughts. I try to keep a sketchbook at the corner of my bed so I can write the things as they're coming to me. And this coyote has been on my mind. And so I know I want to do a book on the coyote, and I love coyote in stories and legends. And coyote is a trickster. And May, you'll have to tell some of the coyote stories to your friends. But coyote is the singing dog, and there's just something about that, hearing that call and that wildness, that wild voice that's out in the woods. And so when I do hear it, I start writing down thoughts. It's like, why are you singing? What's happening? Why are you singing so much? You're supposed to be denning. Are you young female? What's going on? Are you out hunting? Are you hunting alone? So all kinds of thoughts come in. And I usually put the weather, the time that things happen, and as well as the thoughts and some sketches. Everybody keeps their nature journal or sketchbook differently. And I just kind of start working on the first thought in my head. And this is the other day when we were talking about the little tadpoles. But sometimes people are just threatened by that clean white surface. And I've heard all kinds of things that the first get started is, we'll do this demonstration. Splash a little coffee or tea, whatever you have, onto your sketchbook, and that'll get you going, that maybe you're not so afraid of the sketchbook at that point. Hi, Carol. Hello, Penny. Nice to see everybody. And, it's like, oh, wow. So now I've got coffee on my book, and it's not so pristine and threatening and maybe I'll just kind of spatter it around, but it gets you putting that first mark down on the sketchbook and making it not so threatening. So I usually use my sketchbooks like this to collect ideas, and it holds the ideas, and like I said, I put the year on them and a little note or something, front or back. And again, this is the cachet, and it's nice paper, and again lays flat with that the spiral binding. So I usually use these as a jump off point for what I'm going to do for books. And so as all of these things are coming to my mind about creating things, sketchbooks, as you know, I have a YouTube channel called Book Arts with Lori Taylor, and I create books on there and take people through the creative journey of making my handmade books. It's so different from the books that I've been writing and illustrating. And if you get a chance and you're still chilly after this and want something to do, check out the videos, and check out the Florida video where I have all of my tools creating a sketchbook. But and I want to say thank you for showing up today. Thank you to everybody who's been watching, and hello Lisa Elizabeth and Penny again. I don't know if I said hello to you, Penny, but if you're just coming in, we're talking about altering journals and sketchbooks, and this is a good time for everybody. I've talked to my kids, I've talked to my daughter, and we've been doing that, cleaning house and cleaning out, throwing away things. And I know Jen was giving art supplies to the kids that she found, and digging through things to sort and get rid of, and finding fabrics and that kind of thing, and thinking, well, what can you do with them? And I know that they've been making some really spectacular journals and artwork during this quarantine time. And this time I'm not going to spew the coffee on the page or throw it on there. I'm just going to sip some. So as I was going through my shelves, trying to find an idea that I want to do for my Coyote book, I found an old project from a long time ago, Carol Skog, when we lived near Brighton in Pinckney. And I had done this class, I think it was for the Pinckney Library, and we were altering books. And at the time I used one of my books, Lissy Lost, and it actually was a hardcover. And so I wanted to use this book for an example for the class. And this one, as you look at it, From Dusk to Dawn, again, infatuated with owls and their night song. And I've got a little bottle cap here with some cheesecloth and some glittery things inside. And then just used acrylic paint and marker, showing the kids. This was a kid class, and we got some old books off the library shelf to alter. And using stamps, bird stamps, animal track stamps, and color pencils, and creating new pages from the pages that were in the book. And I always have kids when they're doing an altered book class, and I did one at the Birmingham Library, the Baldwin Public Library in Birmingham, and having the kids come in at the end of the day after school and taking old library books. And it was actually hard for some of the kids to rip out the pages. They know that books are gold. Well, if you have old books around the house, they're still gold. You just might have to polish it a little bit more and add your own spin to it to make it even more valuable. What's more valuable than gold? I don't know. The stuff that makes iPhones, the precious materials and things. But so I glued some of the pages together, and then painted some acrylic. It looks like gesso. This was a long time ago. And then stamped it with ink pad, and then did some drawing. And going through, adding a little bit of cheesecloth and texture, and then folding some of the pages and rolling them to create trees. I went, oh, I forgot how fun that was. And sometimes you let the words through, and that helps bring that book character. But I had 3 trees here, and wakes the day, and then my poem at the very end. So this is one of the altered books that I saw that I had made. Now here's a book that I made yesterday, and I just got excited about it. I found an old bird guide. Hello, Kim. Nice to see you from the Magic Tree House. Good to have you drop in to my magic studio in the trees. And so this is fun. And you guess what it was? And I told you it was a bird guidebook, but it was a really unusual bird guidebook, and I knew I was never going to use it the way that they intended it to be used. It was probably a 1960 kind of thing, 1970, where it was all highfalutin and high tech, and had they must have just had computers coming out and having fun with creating this book. Oh, if you see a bird and it looks like this, then you match up the dots, and if it has this song, then you match up the dots there. So I thought it was kind of neat, and I wanted to keep some of that paper in here. And this is actually the cover to it. It was a bird guide, and this is one of the pages in there. It shows the perching birds, and so I thought it was a neat illustration, and it helps cover the cloth that I put on. So I had some fabric from making my other books, and just started. I did this book in probably less than an hour, probably about an hour. And I went in and covered it front and back with cloth. Happened to have the little bird nesting cloth that I had at a class at Up North Gifts. Hello, Jan and Pat, if you're watching today. Up North Gifts is a very cute little store, goods, the best goods in the woods in Bitely. And so if you're there, hello to you. And we had done a class. I did a class for them, and we created books. Hello, John. Hi, Lynn. And oh dear. Who collects bird guides? So anyway, and then I just added to this morning, found 2 feathers. Okay, Marie, ID these. White tip on the end. I don't know. Would that be dove? Right there. I just found them in the trail, heading out to go check the camera. Somebody got out there. And it's like a gray. I didn't know if it was a dove, but I don't get doves over here, so I'm not sure. The 2 feathers. And then I found some fluff on the way into the woods, so somebody got it. But anyway, I just had some cloth, some lace lying around, and just started using matte medium, like a glue, and putting things on. I tore up some of the bits, and it's almost like poetry. Some of the text from the book, and it would tell you to go to this page, and then you'd match up the dots. And it was song high or thin, song harsh or buzzy, song melodious, rasping, harsh calls, smooth, clear calls, soft, low calls, staccato, and twitters. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's like poetry. And so I wanted to stick it on the front of my little sketchbook. Now I have paper that I can put inside. And again, I look at this and go, oh man, now I've got a bird sketchbook. What am I going to do with it? Now I've got to watch the birds and draw what I see. And just like that thing where I said the book is blank, you're like, what do I do? Do I draw on it? Do I have to make sure it's really good? We'll see. I have some bits of paper that I might put in here, and that might help get me sparked to work on it and get some illustrations. And this is gorgeous paper. And if Doris Kelly is out there watching today, French Paper Company. It's in Niles, Michigan. And if you are doing books and paper crafts, these are the people to get some paper from. They make the paper right there in Niles. And when all of this silly stuff and bad stuff and all of the pandemic stuff is over, I would love to go and tour the French Paper Company in Niles. They have incredible colors, and you can order paper and they shipped it really quickly. And so they've got just different textures and sample packets that you can get. And I ordered a couple sample packets, construction paper and speckle tone, just to experiment with my books. This is another sheet, and it's a nice warm yellow. And sometimes what I like to do is just rip. And I will rip pieces to go in the book, and it just adds texture and adds that fun flair to it. It's very instantaneous, and then I can glue that down and then maybe put some notes over here. At first I thought about, hey, I should do a book with woodpeckers because of all the holes. And so I don't know. I think right now it's just birds, and I'm going to leave it at that. So that is my little bird book that I made. I had some beads. The book was actually bound to the cover with a rivet. And I don't have a little rivet gun. Lisa Ramlow, if you're watching, I don't know if you have a little rivet gun, if that was in that box of bookbinding materials. But I poked a hole in and tied some waxed thread through so it does connect and still falls open like it did originally. And then I just thought tying yarn on it and finding a complementary color and just adding some beads, some buttons, and then found feathers this morning. So here, this makes a fun gift for somebody if they are a bird watcher, or if you're a bird watcher and you want to keep this by your morning nook where you have coffee and breakfast and watch the birds. You could sit there and sketch in this. So this is always, these books are always a work in progress. You can get really, really creative with them. And this one I just wanted to bring out and show you, and just for the heck of it, I wanted to show you this sketchbook journal. Well, it's more of a journal. It's an altered backpack, and I had made this. You need not go far to find story. And I had made this book quite a while ago when I was doing school programs and needed props to go in and getting kids excited about reading. And it was very quickly put together, and I used carpet tape. And I had some old books that I took out, maps, and put it in the background. The first book that I wrote, so this is kind of like a memory book. The first book, Lissy Lost. And there's the chickadee. And this is one that I rescued. And I've got my field note in here, January 24th, 1999. 1999. And that little bird made it into the book as Dee Dee, as one of the characters. Oh, that coffee's keeping me warm this morning. So Hot Times in the Big Creek Wood is the next book. So I wanted to have just something that would showcase the books that I have created so far and showing the characters. And we went over the characters a week or so ago, I think we did. But Boomtown Jack and Shanty Bob Bear, and this book is going to be redone as a book form. It was a comic book, and as you turn the page, there is that tree again, and I wrote the names of the rabbits that we raised, and I've got little maps in here. And Kaya, if you're watching, this is a book that my granddaughter and I put together years ago. It was a story that we made up. So you can make these things from what you have lying around the house. And this is The Legend of the Zombie Babies. And I can't remember how old, and I don't know, did I even write the date down? We had the author's page and the illustrator's page. And so we came up with the story, and it was one of the times when she spent the night here, and here was Pinkney, and made that story. So that's fun. Sit down with your kids and have them tell you a story, or you start a story like I remember when, and tell them about something that you did. And this was something that happened to me when I grew up in Clarkston, and there really weren't zombie babies, but the story is just kind of twisted. But all I can say is my friend Connie Butler and I always looked for the babies that had lived there before. It was quintuplets. So the rest of this book, it looks like I'm missing a book here. Oh, Just in Time. Sure, the notes for that, because I'm working on that book. I took that out. And then Crazy Cat, and telling kids how to find story and being a story hunter. So just taking something, using carpet tape, old books, pictures, drawings, anything like that, and it makes a fun little backpack book. Now, the book that I was working on yesterday and today is about my critters. Now, I was thinking about, all of the animals that I have, and last night I let the hamster out to run with the bunny and wanted to see how that was going to go, since the hamster is no longer my roommate, but now the boys are downstairs, and so we've got Bunzo and Wilbur P. Nut living downstairs, and it's taken a while for Bunzo to figure out what the heck is down there. So I wanted to do a book devoted to my pets. And so I have some of the tools to show you. Easy stuff, like I said, easy things that if you want to create a book, a journal or a book about your pets, stuff that you might have around the house. You might not have gel medium, gloss medium, the heavy gloss heavy gel, and matte super heavy gel. These are the ones I use in my videos. So when you're done here, if you want, you can go to Book Arts for Lori Taylor, with Lori Taylor, and check out some of the books that I show you that I make with these materials. I wanted to bring out some of my tools and show you how I created this book and all the goodies that you can collect. You just wouldn't believe what you have lying around the house that will help you make something. These books are preserving moments and preserving, good times. And at this time, I think that's what people want to focus on. It's like all the good stuff. And it helps you remember the things that are important. And I was so excited and inspired making the bird book first in such a quick amount of time, and then going over my shelves, like, what can I find to create another book? So I found a sketchbook. And it was a sketchbook that I had taken when I was doing my artist in residence at, I think it was at Sleeping Bear. And I had taken the sketchbook, and it had heavy watercolor paper and paper in between, so it would separate. It might have been pastel paper, I don't know. It only had one sheet left in it. So I thought I should do a book of my pets. And so I just started working on the book. Again, it was just a plain black cover, and I used the cloth and covered it using the glass heavy gel as my glue. And it was a nice, simple way to cover the book. It was just taking fabric, and this is something you can do, is somebody's old shirt, maybe an old dress, pieces of a quilt, any fabric that you have lying around that's scrap material, and just cut it maybe an inch larger than your cover, and then angle cut, and then fold it over and paste it down. And then I used a piece of that French paper from Niles, Michigan, the speckle tone paper, and used craft scissors to make a fun deckled edge and cut that out, and then glued that down as well. I wanted to make a fun little pocket. Now I don't know what I'm going to put in there, because this book is only not even 24 hours old. So I just wanted to use different contrasting papers. It's hard to see. You might see that there's a little bit of a peachy color here, and this is more of an ivory speckled paper with texture. The first up in my book, and there's that cloth again, and I love ripping the cloth and the fabric, so I have these fun edges with threads, and it adds that texture and character. And Bunzo. And so it was kind of neat to put a little tag on there with his name on it and open up that sketchbook, that area where I'm going to be covering and remembering Bunzo, because they grow so quickly. And I actually have the notes in my notebook of when he first came to live here. And so just before the video started, let me find my fun pencil here. I was looking at the video. I was so excited. I sent everybody meaning Lisa and Marie and Jen and May, pictures of when Bunzo first meets Wilbur. And it was pretty cute. He didn't know what to think about it. And, just draw simple line drawings. And I went through, watched the video on my iPad, and paused it. And that is a fun thing to do. And we have all these tools at our fingertips. And so I thought that's a good way to remember, is to watch that video and freeze it in that move that I want. And here's where Bunzo first meets. He's eyeing this hamster, and he just doesn't know what the heck. Why is that ball rolling? This ball is just rolling across the floor. And then this is the second moment, and you can see how alert he is. His ears are up, they're forward, he's listening, he's watching, and this ball is just zooming away. That was so cute, and I thought I just want to capture that moment and put that in my little scrapbook of the pets, that moment where they meet. Now, you don't always have to use the gel medium. It's for the heavier stuff, and I use it for the collage and assembling my books, but just having Elmer's glue sticks, the school glue sticks, will work fine. In fact, the bird feathers that I found, I use that. Hello, Elaine. I used this, and even though it's purple, it dries clear. And make sure you have two. Always have an extra glue stick around in case one's dried. It's amazing how quickly you use them. And if you watch the Florida video on YouTube, I went through glue sticks. At least I had to run out and get some more for me because I ran out of materials. But you can just glue your, paste your little notes in that you want, or other little things, stickers, tags, anything like that you can add to your pages. So we've got our adhesives, our gel mediums, and our glue sticks, our craft scissors. And then here's something fun, using paper punches. And I used paper punches to decorate the front. The paper that I have here, and it's heavy cardstock, so I can add some notes in there. And I saved all those and then emptied the little reservoir, and the little white circles came out, and I thought, oh, I can use that for the air bubbles for Luna. Luna, my axolotl, who is just adorable. And the grandkids love, even little Orson loves to see Luna, and whenever they call, he wants to see, I think he calls her Muna. And sometimes before he goes to bed, he wants to see all the critters. And so I walk around the house and we go visit and say goodnight to all the different animals. And that's kind of a neat bedtime ritual for Orson. And so Luna has those frilly little gills that the axolotls have, and they're called Rami, R-A-M-I. Very interesting axolotls. And she's an amphibian, and she lives totally underwater, and so she'll never leave the tank, and she'll never come out and grow lungs like when we were talking about the frogs. The frogs, they haven't grown any legs yet. I'm watching them here. They will eventually come out. They'll have the legs and all of that, and they'll come out. But Luna, nope, she's got her chubby little legs, and she's just adorable. And every morning when I go to get coffee or breakfast, there she is, smiling, ready to say hello, and ready for her worm. And you can see with that little tummy, she likes her worms, and she always has a happy smile on her face. That's the one cute thing with the axolotls, is that fun smile that they have. And so that's Luna Matuna, and she's a fun axolotl. She's got 4 legs, she's got toes, and then she has this long tail. So I just started drawing that. She's got dark eyes, and I was working on this today before we started. And so there's Luna. More to go. So I use threads and brads, and I reuse that paper, and thought it would be fun to put over here for some notes. And then I have Ivy and Bean, and again, more paper, and Ivy and Bean are my goldfish, and I haven't done pictures of them yet. Now I almost forgot about Pippi, and she's my snake. And she's about as long as this piece of paper as it spans across the entire book. She's really grown. And I just found this once again using the French paper. It's pretty canary yellow. And I thought, well, what am I going to do here? Well, I just happen to have Pip's first snake skin, and so I'm just going to paste that down to the page. Now, you may not have a pet snake, and that's okay. I forgive you. Not everybody likes snakes, but you can take and put something like this. It was like baby's first haircut. And so I saved this, and some of you knew that when my hamster escaped a while ago that he had gotten into the garbage can and was sitting in a pile of Pip's old snake skins. And here's the rest of it. There's, I think, yep, there's his little face. Oh my goodness, or her little face. And so we're just going to put this in here for posterity and just glue it right down with my glue stick. And I can see already how long and how big she's gotten. They grow so quickly. And just so you know, my grandkids love the pet snakes that I've had. Kaya was the first one, and she kissed my snake, Kenny, that I had, and I thought, wow, that's he's going to be a good snake to take around kids. He was just a baby. He was about this size when she kissed him on the lips, and she was 2.5 years old or so. And so the kids have gotten used to snakes and unusual pets, and it's why they call me Snaky Graham, because I'm the snaky grandma. So we put fun things like this in the book, and when I get a chance I will draw her. But did I have my bone folder? Yes, I do. To fold the paper, and I've got some paper folds in here, and there's some really heavy watercolor, and then this again is the French paper. And to make the folds nice and crisp, you can use, if you have a popsicle stick, a little wooden stick lying around the house, or this is a bone folder that is used for making books, and that gives you a nice crisp edge for folding. And so that's another tool. So you've got scissors, you've got popsicle sticks, you've got your glues, and any cloth material lying around. And this is Wilbur's page. The threads were all over the table when I was done cutting the cloth, and I thought, you know what, I really like the texture there, so I used those and just fixed those to the paper. And this brings me to the page that I've got another fold here that I can put my pictures in. Now this piece of paper was from a book that I had altered and was removing the pages from, and it was about a little mouse, a story about a mouse. Well, this page is devoted to Poppy and Rye, and they were my mice. I say were. Last year I got sick, and I had pneumonia twice last year. I think it was May and November, or August and November, something like that. And I had the pet mice upstairs, and it's a good thing I had drawn them and drew pictures when I first got them in there, January of 2019. And so they were small, and Wilbur just looks giant compared to them. And so Poppy and Rye had this huge monstrosity of a palace. I think Lisa called it the rodent palace. And the one day after I got sick, I noticed that Rye, it was Poppy, was having issues, and I didn't see her when I went up to give them treats, and she was breathing rather labored, so she had some clicking sounds. So I got online and looked that up and saw that she had, breathing distress with that clicking. And she died later that day, and then Rye died the next day. And they can catch colds, as we're talking about coronavirus and how quickly and easily, things can be spread. These two died probably from when I had pneumonia, and I gave it to them while I was giving them some food. It was sad, but it really opened my eyes to, just how delicate the mice are and how quickly things can be spread. And the same back toward people, the zoonotic diseases. So that's why after you handle animals, always snakes, feeding the snake, petting the rabbit, anytime you want to wash your hands thoroughly. And this is the reason why. So I want to take these illustrations and these studies and drawings and put them in the book. Now I had some other things. I'm going to put that on the snake page and maybe some music. And Frere Jacques, I thought that would be a fun song to put in here. I don't know about you, but I sing to my pets in the morning, and so usually sing a little German song to them as I'm going and making the rounds and feeding them. And so maybe you might have some old sheet music, some old illustrations. You don't need to do a lot of drawings. You can print off photos from your phone. And this is why using a spiral sketchbook is a good idea, because there's a lot of stuff that you want to pack into it. Sponges for textures and watercolor and paint if you use that. Let me see, markers, and those are handy to have. These are some old Copic pens that I had lying around to make tracks, printing tracks. Rubber stamps. That's another thing that you can do. And I have this that I had made out of an eraser, a kid's school eraser. And just using the marker, I can press it down and make bunny tracks. So somebody had flipped a little bit of that edge, but you get the idea. You can use potatoes, you can use erasers and make your own little prints and make patterns on paper and glue that in and make your journal. There's a lot today, isn't there? Hello, Kaya. I'm excited to see your play tonight. So let's see. Oh gosh, check your shelves. Check the drawers, the junk drawers, and you have them. See what's in there that would make a fun book. And again, these are all things that are jump off points for other books and for characters that I might have and might put in a book. So here's another tool. This is a Lisa Ramlow special that I use. I'm looking at all the tools I have lying around. Yarn needles for your yarn, and then this is an amazing tool from Lisa Ramlow. It's deadly, and I have used this tool like crazy, and the seam ripper. And when she first gave it to me, I thought, what am I gonna do? But it feels really good in my hand, and boy, I have used it on every book so far. So thank you, Lisa, for that valuable tool. Grab your tools and things, and on a day like this, you can put together a book in just a matter of a couple hours. Oh, it's okay, Kaya, and if you really want to watch, you can watch the video afterwards. So with all of this fun stuff, if you at home make a book, send me a picture. If you make an altered book, send me a picture and I will present it on the next program, and we'll put it up and show everybody what you did. now I remember. This is, well, that was the eyeball. This this is going to be my Coyote book, and I used black gesso. So this is where that mouse came from. I forgot, and this was actually the mouse book. And it was an old picture book using kids' old hardcover picture books. Those are excellent for making a sketchbook, and you have to remember that you want to rip out the pages so you have room to put your stuff. I was listening to a webinar yesterday on kids' books, and it was awesome. And while I was listening and watching it, I was just coating the pages in black gesso. This is going to be my Coyote sketchbook, and the eyeball just rolled on the floor here. It was a piece that I found outside of Lisa's workshop, and it was laying on the ground, and I thought, oh, that's gold. That looks like it could be an eye. I think I want to use that. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with this book yet, but I'm collecting ideas. Sounds from the forest echo through the timber. This is something, concert that they have in Bitely, and I want to say hello to Eli Cambridge if you're out there. And Eli has a new shop in downtown Baldwin, and she's got our art in there, and she's got her amazing tree art, and it's red tree, I forget the rest of it. It's like red tree gallery and fun stuff, something like that. But Eli has amazing art, and downtown Baldwin, and in Baldwin they have concerts. I don't know if they're going to have concerts this year. I hope so. Again, finding all of this stuff, dragging everything out, I found yet another old mixed media piece, and again smitten with that Coyote and song, and it's kind of inspiration for me. And this, again, that French paper company, oh my goodness, they have such delicious colors. And so I'm just kind of putting together my color palette for the book to see what works. When I did the class at Up North Gifts, we had text from books, and we had sheet music. And I thought, instead of just taking the text and ripping it up and not having that text for any other book, I'm just going to throw it in the printer. And so I did. And I copied pages from Ernest Thompson Seton. He was a naturalist. Many, many years ago, he originally started the Boy Scouts in, I can't remember if it was England, but the Woodcrafters. Anyway, he was a naturalist. And so I copied pages on the Coyote. So I've got this fun paper, and just put the book on the copier and hit print and have the song of the Coyote. So that's kind of cool, and this is going to help inspire me when I do put the book together. And some clip art images that will help inspire me, and some little bits from old magazines. And this is going to be something I'm going to be working on. And next week I'll be doing 3D pen art. So I want to have a 3-dimensional Coyote on the book. So you'll have to stay tuned for that if you're into 3D pen art. And so I have this for this sketchbook. I'm going to put the eyeball on top, and I've got the sky chart. I think I went right past it and just put a brad in there, used Lisa's tool, poked a hole, and have the sky chart. So I thought that with the stars and everything, that would be cool to add to the story. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. So that's what I have, and it's almost an hour, and I think it would be really cool if you do make an altered book and send a picture of it my way. That would be awesome. And I will throw it up on the page. So I'll have it up here and you can show everybody your creation. And I'd be interested to see the important things going on in your life. What's happening in your neck of the woods? I've been so inspired that I want to do a book now. Like I said, I want to do a fairy house altered book. I'd like to do one on the bog. What is it you want to do? I would love to see what you have. I think I want to do one with silly grandkids and do some sketches of them. So I'm going to be busy for a long time. So that'll be fun. I hope you enjoyed this. Head on over to YouTube's Book Arts with Lori Taylor if you want to see some of the other warmer book projects that were in Florida. Thank goodness we went to Florida. That was a fun time. And see how I made those books. And I think that's about it. And stay warm, stay safe, stay creative. And I will see you next week on Wednesday for Wild Wednesday. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.